A lot of budget gaming laptops are starting to rock the Nvidia MX150 graphics chip. Yes, it is a dedicated graphics chip and it's certainly better than integrated graphics, but is it enough for you personally? We're gonna find that out today by benchmarking 10 games. Let's get into it. Hey, welcome to Zach's Tech Turf. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Nvidia MX150 and benchmarking it to see if it's worth your money. And if you want to see more benchmarking or PC building videos, then hit that subscribe button down below and also that notification bell. That way you never miss an episode. But yeah, let's check this chip out. Before getting into the benchmarks, let's quickly do an overview of what exactly the Nvidia MX150 is. First, the MX150 was most likely intended to replace the GeForce 940 MX that we saw a lot of last year. It's about 25% more powerful than the 940 MX, which is definitely a worthy upgrade, at least in my book. For specs, the MX150 is rocking either 2 or 4 GB of GDDR5 VRAM, 384 CUDA cores, and it boosts up to a clock speed of 1532 MHz. Essentially, it's a mobile version of the super budget GT 1030 desktop graphics card, which I've included in quite a few videos now. As far as our testing platform goes today, along with the 4GB MX150, this Huawei MateBook D is rocking an Intel i5-8250U CPU, which boosts up to 3.4 GHz and 8 GB of DDR4 RAM. Keep in mind that if your laptop is rocking a different CPU with the MX150, you're gonna get slightly different results. However, in CPU-intensive games like Counter-Strike, your results are going to be quite a bit different. I also have a full review of this Huawei MateBook D if you're interested in that. It's a very capable gaming laptop that looks almost identical to a MacBook Pro, and it's actually my daily driver laptop right here now in mid-2018. And finally, before getting into the benchmarks, I just want to point out that the settings you're about to see for each game are the settings that I would personally game at with the MX150 and this laptop, so just be aware of that because you can always adjust the settings if you want to see higher FPS or better graphics. First up on our benchmarking run was Fortnite, of course, and in 1080p with low settings and a locked 100% resolution scale, this laptop and the MX150 could crank out an average FPS of 68. Next up was CSGO. Remember, this is a CPU intensive game, and in 1080p and high settings with no anti-aliasing, we scored an average of 100 FPS. For another easy to run game, Dota 2 was up next, and in 1080p high settings and with my terrible gameplay against the bots, we got an average FPS of 100. Sticking with the esports theme, I fired up Overwatch, haven't benchmarked or played this one in a while, and in 1080p with medium settings and a locked resolution at 100%, it averaged an impressive 62 FPS. Rocket League followed, and in 1080p with the render quality set to quality and the render detail set to quality, it averaged 50 FPS. Keep in mind that this was tested during an online match and not against the bots or anything. Getting into the tougher to run games, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds was up next, and in 1080p with very low settings, the MX150 could only crank out 38 FPS. These settings are debatable. If you absolutely need that 60 FPS feeling, then you could always crank it down to 720p. Grand Theft Auto 5 trailed, and this one is yet another CPU intensive game, but still in 1080p and normal settings, we could still get a solid FPS average of 68. The fairly new Warhammer Vermintide 2 followed. I have a full benchmarking video with budget graphics cards on this, by the way, and in 1080p with the lowest settings, it averaged just under that target 60 FPS mark. The last two games are insanely tough games to run in 2018, the first one being Assassin's Creed Origins. I had to crank the settings down to 720p, and even with very low settings, the MX150 could only average 39 FPS. And finally, Far Cry 5 was our last benchmarking game, which also brought this laptop to its knees, and in 720p with low settings, we got an average of 42 FPS. So those are the results. As you can see, the MX150 is actually pretty close in performance to a desktop GT 1030. It's not meant for high-end gaming or anything, and it'll at least allow you to play any game on the PC gaming market, provided you crank down the settings a little bit. I'm personally very happy that Nvidia decided to make the MX150 instead of leaving laptops to integrated graphics, as this is a perfect balance for those $400 to $600 laptops that are too cheap for cards like a GTX 1050 or 1050 Ti. Well, that wraps up my benchmarking video for the Nvidia MX150. I want to hear from you guys now though. Drop a comment about if the MX150 is enough gaming power for you, or if you're thinking about buying a laptop with the MX150 in there. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please drop a like down below to help support my channel, and as always, thank you for watching, and please subscribe for more Zach's Tech Turf videos.